All right, we're going to continue with our media availabilities this afternoon. We've now been joined by our reigning champion, Joey Logano. If you have a question for Joey, go ahead and raise your hand. We will work to get a microphone to you. And who would like to kick us off? All right, we'll start up front with Bob and then go to Zach.
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. This could be the last year of the one race championship, and I'm curious, during that week, can you treat it like any other week?
The final,
Champ 4, yeah, that week.
If you're in the Championship 4, do you treat it like a normal week?
Yeah, can you?
No, because it's not. It's not a normal week. It's the championship week, right? Like, you have a chance of reaching your ultimate goal. It's kind of hard to treat that like a normal week. I said this last year, and I'll say it forever, that if you say it's a normal week, it's just a way to help you sleep because you can't sleep. But the facts are, you know it inside. Everybody knows inside. It's more. The pressure's on. It's bigger. You're closer to reaching the dream. What are you willing to do? Everything is just a little more.
And how is that different than this week where you pretty much have to perform as well?
The 10 weeks are tough. It's a grind. Every week's it's tough. And the pressure, ratchets up every week, and it affects you. There's no doubt. I would assume it affects everyone. I don't see how it doesn't. If you care enough about it, right? If you care, you're going to be, digging deep and trying to find that little bit more and what's it going to take and all that. It's the balance gets pretty offset in the playoffs a lot of times of, what's your main goal? And this time of year, it's always about winning championships, and your balance kind of ticks a little bit more towards, and you might have a little shorter fuse and all those type of things. That happens.
Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. My original question was going to be about you being in these backs against the wall situations before, and how do you remain unfazed through that? But you talk about the fact that it does affect you. How do you come back from those moments when you feel like you kind of are on edge, just to keep yourself sane throughout the course of this weekend particularly?
Yeah, when I say it affects you, it affects some people negatively, sure. But to me, I've found ways to make it affect me in a positive way, where it just helps me find a little bit more. Like, it's a little extra motivation, it's a little extra fire. Right? I mean, those things are all good things. Some people might overdo it. Some people might, do it to where they make mistakes. We see that throughout the playoffs all the time, the way the pressure affects everyone, teams, not just drivers, but teams all the way through, crew members, the whole nine, everybody. That's why I always say I love this format so much, because it puts everyone in this crazy position, a really challenging position.
All right, Bruce. And then we'll go right in front of Bruce, please.
Does it add to the challenge over the fact that both you and your teammate are in a win-to-get-in situation? I'm sure that's not an ideal situation for either of you.
It's a good observation. Yeah. Yeah, we're not in the spot we want to be in, but there's still a chance, right? We're not out yet. It's not the best position to be in, but, it's pretty simple on what to do unless something crazy happens in the first 50 laps to the other guys, which I wouldn't expect. It's pretty clear what we got to do. We have to go out there and win, and do whatever we got to do to do it.
And also, how do you compare the pressure of this race just to get into the championship as opposed to the pressure of next week when you're running for a championship? Again, it ratchets up. It's so hard to make the championship 4, right? It's an accomplishment to make the championship 4. It's a hard thing to do. But when you make the championship 4, and I know it because I've been on both ends of it, the feeling of not winning after you've come that far hurts so bad. Because you never know, right? You may never get a chance to do that again. You don't know. So all you want to do is make sure that you've done everything you can possibly do to be the most prepared you can be, because the biggest fear that I have every weekend, but probably even more when it's a championship race, is that you're going to go to sleep at the end of the day saying, gosh, I didn't didn't do everything I could have done, or I didn't think of that. That was one piece I just didn't think that would happen. I didn't see that one happen. I didn't cover that base. That's my biggest fear that would happen, right? I mean, if something happens out of your control, well, so be it, right? I've been there as well. But if it's something I can control and I didn't think about it, that will haunt you the rest of your life.
All right, go ahead.
Eric Johnson, WSLS. Along those lines of the team aspect, does it help you sleep a little bit easier, considering the fact your teammate himself has not only won here and got in, but went on to walk off with the whole thing? Do you kind of rest in those laurels just a little bit, ease the mind just a little bit?
Not really. No. I mean, it's been a good track for us. There's no doubt it's been a good track. I mean, I look at anybody in the position that we're in right now, those bottom 4 cars, everyone's got to win, and everyone has done it here. Right? That's the crazy part, is like everybody's good here. And that's what it is. I mean, you get to this round of the playoffs, like everybody's good, right? Like, I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what it's supposed to be. You get the most solid teams in the round of 8, and you know it's a heavyweight fight right to the end here. I mean, you got a bunch of dogs out there trying to make it happen. It's gonna be an exciting race. It's gonna be something to watch, that's for sure.
My curiosity is kind of piqued because after Vegas, Denny was talking about how he ran back after the drivers' meeting to his motorhome because there was one more piece of data or something, something he wanted to look at to make himself feel better going into the race, but then he wouldn't tell us what it was. Now here you're saying you're talking about the preparation and all that, but are we talking about scenarios of like, okay, if the caution comes out here, it's going to be a short run, or like this is how my car might evolve? Like, can you just give us a general idea of what are you guys talking about when you're preparing for these situations?
Probably depends on what part of the week you want to talk about. I think everybody probably does it a little bit different, right? Like what works for you or your team and those type of things. Or, you know, some drivers are different. Some drivers don't want to know what's in their car or really care about it. Just kind of focus on the driving part. Every team's different. Every driver's different. So I can't speculate on what anybody else is doing. You know, I know for me, I just want to know everything that's going on. That's why when you hear Coleman on the radio, he's constantly talking. A lot of drivers hate that. I love it, right? Like I want to know everything. So if you can imagine if that's how I am in the race, imagine what I'm like before the race. I just want to know everything that's going on. So, I mean, it's everything. So to answer your question, D, all the above. Yeah.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Was there a situation in your career where you went to bed realizing you had, in your mind, you had not done everything in your mind, and that's kind of the foundation for this? Can you kind of, if that's the case, can you?
Yeah, I think there's moments just in life that's like that, right? It doesn't have to be just in a race car or a race, right? I mean, there's times that you walk into a situation that you weren't prepared for, right? I mean, I think everyone can relate to that, right? Whether it's walking into a meeting or something that that just went completely sideways that you didn't see coming because you didn't take the time to get ready. You know, those type of things. Yes, it's happened in races. It happens often, right? To where like that's why you get better at it, right? Because you're like, oh, geez, I didn't see that one coming. Next time I know, right? And you don't want to ever make the same mistake twice, but you also want to make sure that you've prepped in all the right areas, or at least the areas that you think will come your way the most. So, yeah, it happens a lot for me. It just does.
I understand trying to analyze things happening in split seconds, but when you or anybody else talk about it's all on the line this weekend, you got to do everything you can. Those are a lot of big buzzwords that can mean a lot of different things, and we've seen some different actions on this track. How do you set up the guardrails for yourself in terms of where that is and where that isn't, and understanding we're having this discussion in the calm, you're not overheated,
right,
been in a car for 3.5 hours, and maybe you exceed that, but how do you go into an event trying to put up guardrails and trying to do it, I guess maybe quote unquote the right way?
Yeah, it's a hard place to be, right? Because you know, we've seen so many times desperate people do desperate things, and what are you willing to do? And can you justify that? in your mind somehow.
We can justify anything.
Maybe. I mean, it's tough, right? Because it's a true test of your morals, if I'm being honest. Like there's times that you're just like, is this the right thing to do or not, right? And to your point, you kind of got to think about that stuff beforehand. Like, also every action has a reaction, right? And most likely, depending on what you do to get in, you still got a race next week, you know. And I've said it before: you make it in a championship 4, but don't win, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it's nice to say you got there, but you didn't win. You don't get the trophy. Does it really matter? Not really. So, you know, you kind of got to think more than just the race ahead of you, that there's going to be a race next week. Same drivers will be out there, right? Same cars, like all those, like you kind of got to think about all that stuff. It's still a hard place to be, right? I mean, it's a very challenging place to put us. And I'm not saying I've done the right thing every time, but I can't really think of things in my mind that I look back at and go, gosh, you know, that was the wrong play. You know, I haven't done nothing that I can say that I feel like personally, and probably others will disagree, but to me, a bump and run in turns 3 to make it to championship 4 is fine. Completely wiping him out and dumping him, back him in the fence, probably too far. That's my opinion. Everyone's going to have a different one.
All right, we're going to go Claire, Kelly, and Jordan. Go ahead, Claire.
Claire B. Dialed In Journal. You know, I was thinking about how incredibly competitive you are after all the years that I've been covering you, and it seems like you're as competitive as you've ever been. You have a family at home. You're really good at compartmentalizing stuff. You have championships under your belt, and it's do or die. But you never thought in your head, hey, you know, you can't win every year, right? You probably tell your kids that. Can't win all the time. And you're like, what am I telling them? I want to win all the time, right? Do you ever have that kind of between you talking to us now and reality? Can't win every year, the championship.
You can.
I knew you'd say that.
I mean, that's honestly like that's what I would tell my kids. Yeah, you can win every game. You can win every race. You have the opportunity to win all of them. I don't know. Jimmy Johnson won 5 in a row. So I guess you can, right? Like, he was pretty good at that. You know, I'm sure somebody told him that you can't win all of them at some point, and he probably laughed and said, watch this. And he won 5 of them in a row. I just never have had that attitude, right? Like, just because you've won 3 in the past doesn't mean you're all set and you can just coast in the rest of your career. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to my team either. Like, or my fans or my sponsors, to Roger. Like, I wouldn't, like, I can win them all. Like, that's at least better be my attitude. Like, I know that's never happened before that someone's won 36 races, but I promise you I try to win 36 of them.
And at Martinsville, where you stand now, do you not seem like you're even more competitive than you have ever been? It hasn't slacked off over the years as you have grown more mature.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still a great driver. You know, I'm a smarter driver than I was last year, right? Like, you keep becoming smarter. You know, the game changes, right? And you have to evolve. Like, that's a challenging piece. There's no doubt as the cars change and those type of things. It's a challenge, but the more experience you have, the smarter you will be, right? You have to use that as an advantage, right? That's kind of what I have as an advantage at the moment over the majority now. I've been doing it longer, and I've learned the hard way quite a few times. That's valuable.
Go to Kelly.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. 2 things, Joey. First, is the feeling coming here fighting from below the cut line or just to solidify a spot in the championship 4, is the feeling any different when you're the reigning champion and you want a chance to defend that title versus any other year? Or is it the same feeling coming here no matter what, trying to get in the championship 4?
It's the same. It's the same, no different.
My other question is, you said a minute ago about expecting like a heavyweight fight tomorrow and how competitive it is. The fact that coming into the playoffs, the narrative was, you know, Penske's won the last 3. Should we just pencil them into Phoenix? And, you know, then it became, don't let them get to Phoenix. does that speak to how competitive this round has been, that both of you are in the position you're in, or does it speak to, just as you were talking about, how tough the playoffs overall are to even get to this point?
Yeah, I mean, the playoffs are tough, right? And we're in this position that we're in because we didn't do good enough in the regular season. That's the bottom line, right? I mean, if we had, 30 plus more playoff points, which some had, we'd be sitting there saying, "Boy, we can point our way in," even with having a mediocre first 2 races of the round, right? Like, we'd still have a chance because all those races matter. But we didn't have a really good regular season, so now we're put in a spot to where we have to win. We're not out. We still got a great chance, but we only have really one avenue of getting there. That's the difference. That's why we are where we are. It's simple enough.
Okay, we have time for 2 more. We'll go to Zach and then wrap up with Jeff.
We've talked about how strong teamwork is and has been at Team Penske. In your prep for this week, are there things that you're able to glean from what the 12 team and Blaney have done here in the fall races that have provided any sort of like aha moments for you and the 22 team?
Yeah, it's hard to call them aha moments. I mean, I can see it all. I look at it all. Doing it takes a lot to apply things, right? Because it's not just, okay, we'll just copy the trace. Well, why is he driving it that way? What's he need to do that? There's no doubt Ryan's really strong here. Last few races he's been good. Last spring was maybe not one of his better ones, but the majority of the last 10 races here or so have been really solid. So, yeah, we naturally look at that and say, okay, what can I apply as a driver? Obviously, we see setup stuff of what they're doing and those type of things. But, he's got a couple traits that are pretty apparent that he's really good at. And it's trying to fight your natural instincts to drive like someone, that's hard to do, right? Like, I mean, it's asking a basketball player to shoot a different style, right? Like, oh, this is how I do it. This is I've done this for years, and now you gotta try something different. That's hard to do. But it doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just you gotta try to buy into it and understand why and try to apply certain things like that. You do that every week with other drivers that are good at certain tracks and those type of things. You try to find those things. Yeah.
We'll wrap with Jeff.
Obviously, this is a lot different racing here than it was in the old car, but just from the start of the next gen here at this track until now, how has the racing evolved in these last few years here?
From the start of next gen racing, you said? Well, I'm assuming the left side tire is going to wear a little bit more, right? We've kind of had that kind of come back, whereas before it was just, these cars were pretty much bolted to the racetrack all the time. The tires weren't falling off. You're shifting, you're just matting the gas, and you never paid a price. It's starting to come back to where you're going to pay a little bit of a price if you hammer it too hard, which that's good for racing here. The way you pass cars is a lot different here now than it used to be. You used to be able to take the air off the car in front of you a little bit and loosen them up on the exit. Now the trailing car, has a really hard time just maintaining directly behind. You see cars try to, widen out, trying to find air. That's a lot different. So it changes a little bit of restarts and those type of things from compared to the old car, at least. So it's a lot different race. It's like even watching the Xfinity cars today, they're so different. I mean, those cars are so different from what we're driving now. They don't drive the same, but they definitely don't race the same because the aerodynamics are so different. I know we're at Martinsville, but it still plays an effect.
All right. Thank you, Joey. Appreciate it. Good luck tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, guys.